Hello everyone. Today I'm sharing with you, how can outsourced graphic designers achieve minimum revisions? The key is alignment first. This is the most underestimated yet most cost-effective aspect of outsourcing collaborations, because the reality is often, first draft comes out, then revisions, then more revisions, and the direction is still wrong. A single image goes through 6 revisions and is still not finished. You might think it's because the client has high expectations or that your drawing isn't good enough. But the truth is, numerous revisions are never due to poor drawing skills, but rather aligning too late. First, the conclusion. The key to minimizing revisions isn't speed, but early alignment. Many outsourcing companies operate on the following rhythm: draw the complete version first, then wait for feedback, and correct only what's wrong. This sounds normal, but the problem is, you've placed alignment at the most expensive stage. Truly minimal revisions in outsourcing always prioritize the most crucial step, alignment, before starting to work. Q. Why does aligning after drawing inevitably lead to endless revisions? Because once the complete design is finished, the client naturally enters a state of looking at the overall picture, expressing their feelings, offering new ideas. At this point, feedback is often, "Something's not right. It doesn't feel sophisticated enough. Why not try a different approach?" None of these can be implemented. You can only rely on repeated trials. 3. So what exactly should be aligned first? Not style, but this one thing many people think that aligning first is style, color, reference images. But what truly determines the number of revisions is actually this one thing. What judgment is this design helping the user make? If this issue isn't aligned, all subsequent designs may have to be scrapped. IV. The single key step for outsourced graphic designers to minimize revisions. Before you draw any image, you must complete this step. Confirm with the client in one sentence. What problem does this version only solve? It's not the list of selling points, it's not the page structure, but the single judgment point. V. A real comparison of improper alignment versus proper alignment. Improper alignment requests. Make a main image, put all the selling points in it, to make it look more sophisticated. The result will inevitably be, you want to preserve every selling point, you want to change every piece of feedback, you'll always feel like something's missing out. Proper alignment requests. This main image only solves one judgment. Will this be easier for a beginner? At this point, you'll find all designs have a basis for trade-offs. Revisions revolve around, is there a way to make it easier? You won't suddenly change in a different direction. Once the judgment is aligned, revisions will naturally converge. 6. How exactly do you do this align first step? Before you begin work, you only need to complete these 3 confirmations. 1. Confirm the sole objective, only one. You can ask directly, if a user can only remember one sentence, what do we want them to remember? Only one answer is allowed. 2. Confirm the sacrifices, what not to do. This is crucial. You need to confirm in reverse. For this objective, what information will we omit in this version? With clearly defined what not to do, the room for revisions will immediately shrink. 3. Confirm the order of judgment, what to look at first. You can align it like this: what you see first, what you add next. Later information is unimportant. This step determines whether the structure is overturned. 7. Why can this step reduce revisions by 70%? Because it addresses 3 things up front: what constitutes a correct drawing, what shouldn't be changed, when to stop. When these 3 things are clear from the beginning, subsequent modifications will only involve strengthening convergence, fine-tuning instead of repeatedly trying different directions. 8. A coordination script for outsourced graphic designers. You can consistently say this before each project begins. Before we start drawing, I'd like to confirm this version will only address one core decision point. I will proactively downplay or omit other content. Subsequent revisions will also revolve around this point, okay? The purpose of this is to prioritize the decision-making criteria, to define the scope of revisions, to make fewer revisions a consensus. A truth for all outsourced designers tormented by revisions. Fewer revisions are not about enduring, not about speed, but about making preemptive decisions and alignments. When you're willing to spend an extra 10 minutes aligning your goals before starting, you'll save 10 nights on revisions. In short, for outsourced graphic designers to achieve fewer revisions, the key isn't how well they draw, but rather, before starting work, clearly define what problem this version will solve. When the objectives are aligned, the design can make trade-offs. When trade-offs exist, revisions naturally decrease. Truly professional outsourcing isn't about being able to make changes, but about needing to make very few changes.